All right, everyone, welcome to the Tonto's Demise Week 15 recap. All right, well, not a whole lot to talk about this weekend because we only had two matchups, only four teams paying attention. Unfortunately, half of the league already on Christmas break, into the off season. Once the Tonto Bowl completes, you are free to make any your off-season trades. Might be a little bit too early to be jumping on that, but you are welcome to do that as soon as the Tonto Bowl is officially over. Just a reminder there, we did not have any off-season trades last year. Kind of surprising there, but all right, we had two. Said 6 people are already done for the year. 2 more, we're going to join those to get down to 8, up to 8, and only 4 people left heading into the week before Christmas. And one matchup. We'll go in order here. We'll do 3 versus 6. That was Balls Boomers Deep going up against Yinzer Jags. We know all about Yinzer Jags. Didn't want to be here. He was dragged kicking and screaming into the playoffs, and he is going out with his head held high, I guess. He goes out though. Balls deep. Zach Boomers gets the victory. Final score here, perhaps closer than it should have been, 200.65 to 185.2. Now, this matchup came down to Monday night, technically. Zach had about a 7 or 8 point lead. And Yinzer Jags had Rome Adunze left. And Zach Balls Deep had Drake London. So, could have gone either way, but Drake London caught a touchdown, like a 30-yard touchdown pass, fairly early in that game and pretty much put this one away in the first half of that Falcons-Raiders game. Both of those games, going back and forth, they were snoozers for the most part, other than watching to see if anything would happen in this matchup. And Adunze was not able to do anything, really. Really no one. No wide receiver for Detling was able to do anything this week. But let's talk about the victor in this matchup. Balls deep. He has Jordan Love go for 39, just under 4. Both Jordan Love and Mike Evans both go for just under 40 points each. Drake London, like we said, you had a 7-point advantage there. He got 14 points for you. Sutton goes for 12. David Montgomery goes for 7.5. But unfortunately, he is now lost for the year. So Zach, moving on, but not without taking some damage here. Montgomery is done for the year now. Alvin Kamara also got injured in this game. He scored 17 points for you. But we will have to wait and see the severity of his injury. Some kind of groin adductor injury, they said. You'll have to keep an eye on that, see if he practices this week. You might have to, I think his backup, Kendre Miller, is available. You've got the Fab, maybe to do something there. I think you have a couple moves left, too. So you might do something just to be on the safe side there in case Kamara doesn't play this week. I believe you put Juwan, you already moved Josh Jacobs to a running back position and put Juwan Jennings in your lineup there. I think I think that's what you did so far. So we'll see if you decide to stick with that. What else did you do? So I think you've got Kamara. We'll get to that after we go through this stuff. Okay. Point is, Kamara might not play this week, so we'll have to wait and see what happens for you there. McBride goes for 17.5. Josh Jacobs, 21.5. Just a touchdown machine this year. Field goal machine. Chris Boswell gets about 9 points for you. And the Washington defense, Yahoo says 12. You got about a 9-point bump there, perhaps. Looks like up to 21. Just getting over the 200-point barrier, but like we said, you just needed London to outscore Dunze fairly well, and he did that for you. But the key to this matchup, right here at the top of Yinzer Jags lineup here, Jared Goff, who was previously paired, I should say, with Amon-Ra St. Brown on this team. Jared Goff, in comeback mode basically the entire game, goes off, almost breaks the Tonto's Demise all-time record for points scored in a single game, set by Drew Brees. It's 95. I have to go back and look. I would have to go back and look to see when it was, but I know it's 95. He had a bink in this game, so he actually scored 92 points. Half of Nat's points came from Jared Goff all by himself. You would have gotten 40 plus if Amon-Ra St. Brown was still on your team, just saying. And like 17 or 18 if Rico Dowdle was still on your team, instead of the 6 points you got from Adunze and the 9 points you got from Dalton Kincaid. And the other two people aren't even in your starting lineup. Cooper Kupp, as we know, goes for 0. Amari Cooper also goes in a game where Buffalo wins and scores 48 points. Amari Cooper scores 0. Got to be a dagger in your heart that you're going to be thinking about all off-season probably. James Cook goes for 30, like we said, so Dunze went for only 6. Charbonnet, no 40-point blow-up this week. He gets you 13.5. Sam Laporta, livening up here towards the end of the season. He gets 18 points. Dalton Kincaid in the flex goes for 9.5. Justin Tucker goes for 5. And your San Fran defense lost in a low-scoring affair to the Rams on Thursday night. I believe we corrected your score to 12 from 6 that it says on Yahoo there. So yeah, perhaps with those double donuts, perhaps this one shouldn't have been as close as it was. But kudos to Jared Goff for doing everything he possibly could to push Detling into the next round of the playoffs. But he just could not quite get there. So yeah, Zach moves on. Detling, we clap you out. You are done for the year. On to the off season for you. All right, the other matchup, we had Ed Lager versus Disco. Good matchup here going in. Unfortunately, things just kind of sputtered out for Disco this week. Ed Lager gets the victory, 196.4 to 154.2 for Disco. All right. Trying to remember what the difference was here. Monday night, Ed had Kirk Cousins. He had Keenan Allen. He had Ricard, the Vikings kicker. Disco had Jacoby Myers, and he had Bijan and the Raiders kicker. But yeah, I think Ed Lager had a lead. Yeah, Ed Lager definitely already had the lead with his quarterback still yet to play. So Disco was put into a pretty tough situation going in. Jacoby Myers didn't really do much until like the last minute or two of that game. Bijan tried his best, was able to get too much. But yeah, it was basically the wrong, for Disco at least, the wrong jet went off in this game. And unfortunately for Disco, he was on Ed Lager's roster. But there on Monday night, we had Kirk Cousins going for, fortunately for Ed, he was not in a situation where he needed his quarterback to have a decent game, or at least above average, because this was certainly below average. Kirk Cousins only 17.5 points in this matchup at the quarterback position. Neighbors goes for 24, Zay goes for 11, And then Devontae Adams pops off. He actually got a bink for you in this game. So that means he had 48.8 points, just under 50 for Devontae Adams this week. You were hoping for Brees to pop off for that against the Jaguars, but unfortunately for Disco, it was Devontae. A quiet week versus Pittsburgh for Saquon Barkley. He goes for only 9.5. Same thing for Stevenson. Zach Ertz, 4.5 before getting concussed. Not sure, you have to keep an eye on that. Not sure if he's going to be playing this week. So yeah, that's something for you to keep an eye on there, Ed. A little bit of damage to your team there, but I think you got a couple other tight ends on your bench. Keenan Allen catches a touchdown in some garbage time there. Gets you 20 points. Ricard, the Minnesota kicker, kicks a bunch of field goals on Monday night. Gets you about 16 points. And then the Denver, one big factor here, too, in this matchup was Devontae and the Denver Broncos defense. They started out a little bit sluggish, but came back and did pretty well, scored a touchdown. Yahoo says 26. But Ed, looks like we bumped you up about to 9 points, I guess, because you did have a bink there from Devontae Adams. So you must have gotten about 35 points from your Denver defense. So yeah, some solids. You're definitely boosted by those big scores there from a couple guys. Unfortunately, you didn't need Kirk Cousins to save your ass on Monday night. Disco, he gets a pretty good performance against the Steelers defense from Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown. Hurts actually goes for 56 and Brown 25. So what is that? 81 points from those two guys. Pretty good. Everything you needed to go right for you in that game pretty much because they shut down Saquon, but your guys did good. Like I said, Myers got 11. Tyreek only 5.5 points this week. Perhaps you would have been better off if you had stuck with Brian, your boy, Brian Thomas Jr. Not gonna say anything, but perhaps going for the sparkle of those names. Tyreek Hill perhaps ends up being what sinks the Disco ship this year. Ashan goes for 14.5. Brees goes for 13. No Njoku, unfortunately. Dalton Schultz goes for only 3. Bijan 17.5. Carlson about 5. And then the Chargers defense, Yahoo says 7. I believe, Disco, we actually had to drop you. Their score was only 4 points this week. I believe that, still, I'm kind of surprised about this. Fortunately, I don't think it made a difference. You still would have lost if you had used the Cowboys defense. I'm fairly certain I said on the review last week, even though you said you didn't watch it, that if I were you, I would go with these Chargers defense at home over the Cowboys defense at Carolina. Carolina had actually been, I think we all are well aware, they've been surging the past few weeks. Kind of surprised that the Cowboys actually did go in there and pretty much shut them down, which was a surprise. And Tampa Bay went into Los Angeles and just blew out the Chargers, one of the better statistical defenses in the whole league this year. So yeah, up is down, down is up in that your matchup there. But yeah, like I said, the good news to help you sleep at night is that the Cowboys defense would not have gotten you enough points to change the outcome of this matchup. It would have been, I believe their score was like 35 or 36, and it said the Chargers only got 4. So even if we add 32 to your score, that's still 186. You still lose this matchup. Even if you had flip-flopped your defenses, the point is you still would have lost this matchup. So anything a little positive to help you to at least help you sleep better at night, thinking about your unfortunate exit from the playoffs here. But Njoku going out there probably had to sting because he has been putting up solid numbers I said you only got 3 from Schultz, and having Devontae Adams pop off there against you. But yeah, that's it for Week 15. Ed Logger with the victory. He moves on. Him and Zach will move on to play myself and XXII Possum Magic in the semifinals of Tonto Bowl 22. So let's take a peek ahead at what we've got. Possum Magic coming off the bye. His team actually went pretty crazy last week, wasting... let's just take a quick look at what you did last week. Possum Magic, without a score, without any stat corrections here, he goes over, from me at least, he goes over 200 points last week. Let's take a quick leak. I think Lamar went for like 60. Amon-Ra went for 43. Scary Terry, 25. Dowdle, 18. Jefferson, 20. Your Vikings defense, looks like they did okay. Not great, but yeah, you would have been over 200 points this week. I think my team, I want to say the score ended up being like 180 something, 188 maybe, I think. Because if I had actually been playing this week, I would have played Freiermuth over Jake Ferguson. Ferguson has kind of just faded into obscurity here at the end of this year. And Russell Wilson has been starting to throw to Freiermuth a little bit more. So yeah, if I had actually played last week, the only difference I think in my lineup is I would have put Freiermuth in there. And I think my score would have been, like I said, 188 or something like that. But yeah, several of you would have been able to beat that score this past week. So fortunately, I got Burrow, Chase, and Higgins kind of had quiet days there. So hopefully they'll bounce back here in Week 16. Let's take a look at what we got. We got the number 1 seed, Wizard of Wimber, versus the number 4 seed, Ed Logger, who perhaps a bonus boost to your team here. Just a little bit earlier tonight, Russell Wilson making his way into the starting lineup because after last night's performance, Kirk Cousins is being sent to the Falcons bench. The $180 million man, whatever they're paying him, is getting sent to the bench, and you've got Russell Wilson in there, who, as we know, dropped a 65-point bomb on me a couple weeks ago. Ed, going up against him for the 3rd time this year, I currently 0-2. Have lost 3 games this year. 2 of them have been, so far, to Ed Logger, and both times he put up over 2 hondos on me. So we'll see if he can do that again this week, or if he's going to pick somebody up off of waivers here. I think he might have... how many transactions do you guys have left here? I know XXII he had none. Detling had none. Let's see. Ed's got 1 more left. Zach's got 3, and I still have 6 there. So Ed, we'll see if he decides to make a move here for a quarterback, or if he's going to go with Russell Wilson. I don't know that there's much to pick from. If you're going to roll the dice on Penix Jr., I don't know. You have Anthony Richardson, Aaron Rodgers. I don't know. Russell Wilson. We know what people have done to the Baltimore Ravens defense this year. So your options are just not looking your alternate option is not looking very enticing there. So we'll see what happens. If Ed sticks with Russell Wilson or not, don't know. But yeah, let's get back to, you said Ed, that's his last move that he has left there. So getting back to the matchup, just taking a look to see what we've got here. Currently, Wizard projected to be about, according to Yahoo, about a 26-point favorite, 25-point there. But we'll see what happens. He's got Denver defense Thursday night at the Chargers. That could be good for you after what happened this past week. Of course, you got Saquon. He's got Hunter Henry in there. Since Zach Ertz is questionable, we'll see what happens. Just taking a look at your matchups here. So Russell Wilson's at Baltimore, Neighbors at Atlanta, Zay versus Pittsburgh, Devontae Rams. Saquon's against Washington, but he went off against them last time. Stevenson at Buffalo, Keenan versus Detroit. That could be good for you. You got some good things, but I think we'll have to see what happens. I think I like most of my matchups. So I'm disappointed. Suffice to say that the Cleveland Browns, I do not understand why they are benching Jameis Winston for Dorian, whatever his last name is. One bad game against a championship level defense. Jameis Winston, I understand that they benched him. He had a bad game. Again, one of the best defenses in the league. But this guy he has injected life into that Browns franchise. Not just saying it because having Judy and stuff like that. I mean, that's part of it for me at least. But man, with Jameis Winston, they were at least fun to watch. I just don't know how they possibly think that this is going to be taking him out and putting the other guy in, Dorian. Not to feel like I'm disrespecting him by forgetting what his last name is, but I do not understand this move by Cleveland. Point is, I think when this was announced, I think if you stepped outside, you probably could have heard the collective groan from fantasy owners across the whole country, finding out that Jameis Winston was going to be benched for this game, because the Bengals defense, as we know, is terrible. I picked up Jameis Winston in our Dynasty League several weeks ago, looking forward to this matchup getting into a crazy shootout, which absolutely it could have, but now I am much less confident in that happening with Jameis Winston being on the bench. That the Bengals should put this game away fairly easily now. So we'll see what happens. I just don't envision it being a high-scoring game anymore like we did before. Puka at the Jets. Jets defense just got torn apart by the Brian Thomas Jr. and the Jaguars. Rashad at Dallas. I kind of like that. Tyrone Tracy at Atlanta. Freiermuth, hopefully catch some passes from Baltimore, at Baltimore, from Russell Wilson. JSN, hopefully Geno Smith is going to be okay. Hopefully, they're at home against Minnesota. I like that. Buffalo at home against New England. I like that for me. So hopefully Geno Smith is going to be okay, because that was probably where I was. If I was looking, I was definitely looking to find a way to get Jerry Jeudy into my lineup this week. But if Jameis Winston is going to the bench, that kind of makes my decision a little bit easier. Was kind of going back and forth. It's probably between T or JSN, who I would take out and plug Jeudy in there. I don't know. But it probably doesn't matter anymore, because Jeudy, if Jameis isn't in there, I'm not starting Jeudy this week. So, yeah, this should be a good matchup. My defense against, you got your tight end there. Any other head-to-head matchups? Just so you've got Russ versus Freiermuth there. You have the Neighbors and Tracy. We'll see what happens. But yeah, despite the projections, anything can happen. Keenan Allen versus Detroit. I think he feasted against them last time. So yeah, not getting the hopefully we'll see, but like I said, not getting the shootout probably in the Browns Bengals game that we were hoping for. But we'll see. It's always a possibility there. Yeah, despite Yahoo's significant projection difference there, hey, anything can happen, and I expect that this is going to be a pretty solid matchup. We've got games on Saturday. The Steelers-Ravens game. Well, you have I don't think I have anything on Thursday. You have your defense, and then Saturday you've got Russ Wilson and Zay Flowers, and I've got Freiermuth there. Anything else on Saturday? But then other than that, everything is on Sunday. Sunday, I don't see any Sunday night. Sunday night, I've got Rashad White. So yeah, we will pretty much know going into Sunday night how this matchup is. What's the Monday night game this week? Let's see. Monday night. Yes, Packers Saints. So that'll affect the other matchup, but not us so much there, Ed. So yeah, we will know probably Sunday night which way this matchup is going to go. If Rashad White is going to be needed to go again to have a good game, or not there versus Dallas, because you'll be done by 7 o'clock Sunday evening. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I'll be at work, probably with my phone on silent, turned upside down, so I don't have to look at it or worry about what's going on. Usually what I end up doing when I have playoff matches is just that exactly. Once my lineup is set, just shut the phone down, don't even look at it, and whatever happens, happens, instead of driving myself crazy, stressing about it. All right, then we got 2 versus 3. We've got Possum Magic versus Balls Deep. Coming off the bye here, Possum, big score last week, hoping for, and both of you guys put up big scores last week, over 200 points from both of you. So we'll see what happens. Again, you've got some Monday night stuff going on here. Said Possum has Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry going against the Steelers on Saturday. Could be a difficult game for them. The Steelers are Lamar Jackson's kryptonite, as I think many of us know. So that could be tricky for you. Just looking at the rest of Tree's team here. So you guys went off last week, so be worrying about what happens this week. You got Justin Jefferson at Seattle, Amon-Ra at Chicago. Definitely don't think the Lions are going to need to score a ton of points. Scary Terry versus Philadelphia could be kind of tough. Dowdle versus Tampa Bay could be good for him. Kraft on Monday night. That's Possum's only Monday night player, Tucker Kraft for Green Bay. Zach's going to have a bunch of people on Monday night there. You got Pittman versus Tennessee. Your defense, so Jefferson and your defense at Seattle. Depending on the health of Geno Smith, they're saying he looks like he's going to be okay. The matchup could definitely hinge on whether he is good to go or not, because Sam Howell, though he does have a lot of potential, that's for sure. We've seen him as a full-time starter last year for Washington. But yeah, if Geno is not able to go, that could definitely swing this one heavily in favor of the Minnesota defense there. For Zach, Monday night, obviously he's going to have Jordan Love, Alvin Kamara possibly, if Kamara plays, and let's see, Josh Jacobs there. You got Boswell. That's your Saturday. You got Boswell. You got Sutton on Thursday night here. So yeah, this matchup will not be decided until all the way until the end on Monday night. You've got Kamara, so you put Juwan Jennings in the flex. You've got Kamara still in there. Perhaps you're going to pick up Kendre Miller. Hope you're going to try to at least. That would be my guess of what you're going to do. And just in case Kamara doesn't play, you've got Tajay Spears also on your bench there. But yeah, if he ends up not playing, you're going to need a running back. And Spears is the only guy you've got on the bench because you got a couple defenses, you got multiple kickers. So yeah, something to watch there is if Zach has to do something, make a move there. If especially since it's Monday night, if Kamara doesn't end up playing, yeah, I'm gonna guess unless somebody jumps in and blocks him, he's gonna pick up Kendre Miller just in case. Not sure that's gonna help you too much, but you might be thrust into a desperate situation there. Hopefully not for you, Zach, but we'll see what happens. So yeah, projection, also Yahoo, not very close here, about a 15-point difference here. But yeah, I suspect that these matchups are going to be much closer than the projections show. So yeah, let's make some picks here. I guess we should do that before we sign off. Just looking at the Possum Zach matchup here. So Drake London's got a new quarterback. Cortland Sutton at the Chargers. Kamara's questionable. I just don't think the Saints are going to put up much of a fight in Green Bay. And Jordan Love's not going to have to do a whole lot in this matchup. Josh Jacobs probably going to have a good game. Basically been the recipe for Green Bay this year. Josh Jacobs might put up 25 points, but you also might get 25 points from Jordan Love, which that doesn't work really for you in terms of fantasy-wise. Your Colts defense is at home going up against Mason Rudolph, so that could be pretty good. You got McBride, you got Jennings in there. Really, Mike Evans has been on a hot streak. We'll see what he can do. Lamar and Henry versus the Steelers defense. I said they're his kryptonite. Justin Jefferson, Amon-Ra, Scary Terry. They got not easy matchups. Probably lower scoring games. Those are going to be. But McLaurin has just been going crazy. Justin Jefferson, we know what he's capable of. Amon-Ra just had like one of the best games of his whole career last week. He's been solid. But we know even though Montgomery's going to be gone, the Bears just aren't I suspect they're not putting up much of a fight in this one. Pittman's a wild card there in the flex. Yeah, Minnesota defense. It depends on again Geno Smith, how healthy he is. This is a tough one. This is a really tough one because of all the factors in play here. You know what? I'm gonna give it to Tree Size, Possum Magic. I think Possum Magic's gonna squeak this one out. He's gonna make it to another Tonto Bowl, and of course, we don't need to really get into much in my other matchup there. I predict that the Wizard of Wimber, is going to take out Ed Logger this week, and we will have another Craig versus Tree Size Tonto Bowl. If it happens, this would be the third time, is my prediction that we're going to get to that. I defeated Possum Magic in Tonto Bowl 2, as very few of you might remember. And in Tonto Bowl 13, back in 2015, also defeated, the Springfield Isotopes defeated Possum Magic in 2015. So that was 2004 and 2015. And I predict another Possum Magic Wizard of Wimber Tonto Bowl here. So, yeah, that's it for Week 15. Again, did we clap out Disco? Excellent year. Started off strong. Went on a cold streak and finished strong, but just couldn't quite get there. Perhaps you could argue that much like Detling, traded his way out of advancement in the playoffs there, trying to get a little too cute with the trading. And I think some of those guys that you traded away, you might just much like Yinzer Jags, you might have in the long run been better off holding on to. But yeah, so that's it. Week 15. It was going to be, said 4 guys left. Very few people probably even watching this because interest, as I know, interest fades very quickly when you're not in the playoffs or you're eliminated from the playoffs. So guys, thanks for listening, watching, or whatever it is you do. Hopefully, again, we had some tough ones for this past week. No more injuries. Everybody stays healthy on all of our teams. Everybody meets or exceeds expectations. Everybody has a good time. And we come back here to discuss the events of Week 16 and do a little preview. Let the guys do their podcast thing, though, of Tonto Bowl 22. Going into, I believe there's the Steelers play on Saturday, then they play again on Christmas, like on Wednesday, which is rough. So this Tonto Bowl, the Tonto Bowl week starts on Christmas Day. Just take a look here. There's Saturday games. There's Wednesday games. There's Thursday. There's oh man, on Christmas we have the Steelers and the Chiefs, and then we also have the Ravens and the Texans on Christmas Day. Then Thursday we've got Seahawks and Bears. Then Monday, and then we are Saturday. So Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday we've got the Cardinals and the Rams, the Broncos and my Bengals is on a Saturday, and then Sunday. Wow, I'm gonna take a look at go back to the league page here and look at the actual NFL schedule for week. Getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. I just want to see what's going on here in week 17. So yeah, it's pretty wild that we've got 2 games: Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. What's the Monday night game? Lions, 49ers. So yeah, potentially some guy. I mean, that's gonna be a long fucking week of sweat and stress for the Tonto Bowl week here. But anyway, all right, guys. Again, just getting ahead of I always start saying goodbye, and then like, oh, we should talk about this real quick. We should talk about that real quick. So yeah, that's my prediction for the Tonto Bowl. Treese Ice, I'm gonna see you again. Once again, we'll see if third time's the charm for you. But yeah, that's my prediction: a Wizard versus Possum Magic Tonto Bowl. Sorry, Ed. Sorry, Zach. We'll see what happens. Obviously, anything can happen. Like I said, you just gotta get in. And 1, 2, 3, and 4 seeds here. It makes me think again. I don't know where it is. My list of like all the teams, like what were our seedings were quite often for the Tonto's playoffs here. I don't feel like wasting your time digging through my stuff here. My paperwork sitting on the desk here trying to find that and dragging this along even more. Maybe, is it here? I don't know where that is. I don't know what I would have done with that. But I can't find it. I thought it would just be sitting here. But anyway, I think Kevin last year I think I was the 1 seed and Kevin was the 2 seed. And we ended up both in Tonto Bowl. However, it is, for the most part, it is very rare that we get a 1 versus 2 Tonto Bowl. We did it last year. Perhaps we will do it again this year. But yeah, I'll see if I can find. I'll dig that up, see if I can find it. We'll talk about that next week as we head into the Tonto Bowl. Yeah, I'll see if I can find that for you guys. Just always interesting to see which seeds get into the playoffs there, or get into the Tonto Bowl, and who ends up actually winning. If how beneficial the 1-2 seed isn't always beneficial to you. So, all right, guys, that's it. Thanks for listening, watching, whatever it is you do. Kevin, your dog took a shit. It's everywhere. Please have that taken care of. And guys, thanks again. And I guess, yeah, we will see you again before Christmas. So get to wish you Merry Christmas then. Do it now. Of course, happy holidays to everybody. And yeah, thanks for listening. And good luck to those remaining in the Tonto's Demise playoffs. And we'll see you back here next week to review the events and do a little preview of Tonto Bowl Year 22. All right, guys, thanks again, and bye-bye.